A pattern changes in the offing, guys, for the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, any points east of the Rockies here and west of the Rockies, really. The whole nation expected to be above normal temps with possible severe return of severe weather as well. Maybe next week sometime. So in the meantime, we're in the middle of a pattern change, like I said, and we have some rainfall coming through in the southeast. But other than that, right now, pretty quiet for the rest of the nation. And good morning. My name is Tim Ayler, meteorologist. I hope you're all doing well today. I took yesterday off. I was traveling, didn't have a way to do videos yesterday. So I appreciate y'all tuning back in today. Today is Friday. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave any comments in the comments below. So let's get started with our current hazards next. So moving on to current hazards, we have dense fog advisories out here in the California Valley. It looks like maybe some wind advisory also along the coast here right now. Dense fog advisory in parts of Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi here. Flood warning going over here towards the Atlanta area with that heavy rainfall that's been moving through. Thankfully, it's moving out of the area now. Red flag warnings for the north central U.S., dense fog advisories, some winter weather advisories and wind warnings, wind advisories for to the north here, as well as winter weather advisories again, and a winter storm warning here in Montana in one small county here. So overall, not a lot of winter-related impacts today. Mostly rainfall moving through the southeast. We also have that dense fog advisory here. I'm getting ahead of myself here in southern Florida. As far as the 2-day forecast for Georgia, today highs in the 60s near 70 in southern Georgia. Precip moving out of the area with the highest precip chances moving to the south as the day progresses. Cooling off some tonight with temperatures in the 40s to mid 50s further south, and maybe some lingering moisture here in parts of central and southern Georgia, but nothing major going on for precip overnight. Tomorrow, highs in the 60s to near 70 again further to the south. Precip chances look to be minimal, but not zero here in parts of southeast Georgia. Maybe the lingering boundary hanging out here tomorrow. So what do the temperatures look like in the middle of the state? Well, here in Georgia, I'm kind of laughing because how warm it's going to be. Way above normal, especially into the 5th through the 11th of March here. Highs in the 80s to lows in the 60s. Way above normal here. 20, 30 degrees above normal. Could be reached some records here um, into next week, into next weekend, right? And continuing here. Maybe cooling off towards the end of the period. Starting off a little bit cooler, and but maybe a cold frontal passage here a little bit. Maybe cooling off some overnight, but overall very warm, even for this time of year here in central Georgia. As far as the day 3 to 7 U.S. hazards outlook, this is just outside the range of the the 5-day excessive rainfall outlook from the Weather Prediction Center. We got this heavy rainfall possible the 4th through the 5th. Hazardous cold up here the 1st of March and the 1st through the 2nd of March up here in the Northeast. Parts of Alaska also hazardous cold here, most of Alaska anyway. High winds up here, possible up here in northern Alaska, as well as the western part of Aleutian Island chain, and heavy snow in the parts of southeast Alaska as well, the 1st through the 3rd here. As far as severe weather, there's no really severe weather expected in the next 3 days, but I wouldn't be surprised we get some severe weather next week as a pattern shifts to more troughing in the central U.S., right? So for today, we got general thunderstorm risk in Georgia, parts of the southeast into Florida. Tomorrow, we have another general thunderstorm risk out here into California, Nevada, and Oregon, Oklahoma, Missouri, maybe a short wave moving through here, and parts of most of Florida here. And then we have this risk here, parts of Northern California again, a higher terrain, it looks like. Parts of Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, and southeast Florida. Beyond that, we don't have anything outlooked in the 4 to 8 day time frame. So what's the forecast look like for the southeast for the next couple days here? Starting off generally about 5 a.m. shower then storms moving through. This looks like it's a little bit behind here, or close to it anyway. Moving through out of Atlanta and the central Georgia, and then we get some more precip and maybe some storms here in most of South Carolina as we go through the day today. Cold front sides to the south. This moisture moves offshore here, and then in the morning, all that moisture moves offshore, and we get some more storms into Florida here. Maybe some backside precip into parts of Arkansas and Texas and Oklahoma here. But overall, today is the soggiest day for the southeast, and then moving into Florida tonight and moving out eventually, right? With maybe a boundary setting up somewhere in here, but doesn't look that active, right? And then we get a little bit further out to March 1st, which is Sunday. We have on the edge of this southeast loop is a system developing out here in the plains and up into the northeast. For the northeast this morning, kind of cool, right? This morning below freezing, right? Got some snow coming through the lakes here with the disturbance in the flow. Another clipper system moving through the northerly flow up here and out west here in north central U.S. The disturbance moving in the northerly part of the flow. But see these pretty warm temperatures with this clipper system bringing marginal temperatures to the surface and likely rain and snow mixed here, a mixture moving through. This is Saturday afternoon. And we have in the north central U.S. Potentially a heavy band of precip swinging through parts of Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, right? Okay, this precipitation swings out of the area. You got maybe some moisture hanging in here in the southeast area. In the northeast, we have this clipper type, just a disturbance really move through the flow, and that's where this model run ends. In the beginning of, no, it doesn't end yet. Sorry. That's where this ends here, where this we got rain, snow showers. The rain snow line is roughly right between New Jersey here into Sunday. So potential for some more snow here in the northeast this weekend, and the beginning of another system out here out west, right? So when we look at the western U.S. as a whole here, we don't have a lot going on to start this. We have some moisture, like I said, going through the northerly flow here. This is into Saturday, 6 a.m. So all day today, not a lot going on. You see the system hanging right offshore here, maybe bringing some enhanced moisture on the west coast of northwest coast of California, parts of Oregon here. Snowfall breaking out here in north central U.S., northern high plains. Potentially heavy snow into Minnesota here. Could be heavy bands of snow here. This swings to the north, looks like a warm front here. And maybe a low pressure end up developing on the eastern side of this towards the end of this run. Right? And then we get some scattered showers here. You see the system developing out here in the central plains on the lee side of the Rockies with some, looks like overrunning moisture here. All right, so that's it for the continental U.S. for the latest forecast. So we'll move on to temperatures next for the continental U.S. here. As far as temperatures go, it's starting off quite mild in the south this morning in the 50s and 60s. Those temperatures really warm up overnight. I mean, during the day today, excuse me, 70s, 80s in Florida, southern Texas. You see, it's not below freezing except in the Intermountain West here into Canada, maybe parts of Maine, right? So in the favorite areas for desert, I guess, climate here, already reaching 100 degrees in some parts, right? We have some cold air pushing to the south with that system that we talked about and the northerly flow. You see along the east coast, it looks like these temperatures overnight are due to probably leftover snow here on the ground, all right, and radiational cooling effects as well, all right. And you see temperatures really cold up here, all right, in northern Minnesota as we get towards Saturday morning. Cold push of air, warm again on Saturday. Very warm here in southern Texas, 80s to near 90. The desert, even California, is getting in the 80s now, 60s for a good portion of the nation here, and a stark boundary setting up here, right? And we showed where that boundary was with that precip moving through. The coldest of air looks to stay up here into Canada, right? And this looks like to be the last push of cold air for a while, with the single digits up here into the northern part of the U.S. But when you get into Sunday, this kind of retreats a little bit, probably with the daytime heating. Again, this is 1 p.m., warming up for a good portion of the south here. As far as the long-range temperature outlook, let's just say the next 14 days, 6 to 10 day, 14-day outlook, we are expecting above normal temperatures here in the continental U.S. For most of the period here, with the exception out west here, Intermountain West, maybe near normal, right? We go back to 6 to 10 day below for Alaska, Aleutian Island chain, above in Hawaii here. We go to the 14 days, pretty much the same thing here, below temps for Alaska, above in Hawaii, and below in Aleutian Island chain. And this map echoes the precip chances from the hazards outlook really too, because we got a 3 to 7 hazards with 3 to 7 day hazards listed in here, right? Because this is March 4th to the 8th, so it's within that window here now. So above normal precip chances, generally from the Mississippi Valley, Ohio Valley northward here into the Midwest, maybe near to below normal on the East Coast here, below on the West Coast, below to near normal to above in Alaska, near normal in Hawaii, and near normal to above in the Aleutian Island chain. Now we move on to a little bit further in March. Above normal precip looks to continue in the same general area here, hence the hazards outlook and what they're talking about with heavy rainfall, right? So near normal, maybe right along the eastern seaboard, below normal out west here, right? So that's a change from what it's been the past week or so with the atmospheric river, right? So back to dry conditions and warm out here. Near normal to above precip in Alaska, expected depending where you're at, above in Hawaii, and above in the Aleutian Island chain. When we look at week 3 to 4 temperatures, still looking to be above normal for most of the continental U.S., with the exception of maybe out west here, the northwestern part of the U.S., with equal chances above or below. Below in Alaska, continuing here, it looks like through the early and middle part of March, right? Above in Hawaii, and above equal chances or below, depending where you're at in the Aleutian Island chain. As far as precip goes, got a wide variety here of below to above to equal or below or above here out west as well. So quite a variation here, but not a lot of confidence either way, with the exception of maybe up here into the Midwest and maybe the Northwest U.S. above normal precip chances. Trending below here in Alaska to equal to above, and far southeastern Alaska, above in the Hawaiian Island chain, below to equal in the Aleutian Islands as well. So what does the future hold in the long term, right? We go past the short term here into Saturday, into Sunday. This is the 500 millibar flow, right? Shows the temperatures at 500 millibars, 500 millibar height anomalies here. So what we're seeing the beginnings of this cold push, pushing back in the northeast, the final one for a little while anyway, that moves offshore. You see a mid-level feature moving through the flow here into next week, right? So it's March 4th, 1 a.m., which is Wednesday, okay? And like I said, this is the GEFS, which consists of 31 members. So it's just a consensus model, right? All the members combined to get a mean, right? So the 500 millibar low is way up there. You have southerly flow here starting to set up, right? You see this ridge here, some troughing here, some general southerly flow beginning to set up, right? So move this through time a little more. You see why we get the warm up here. Southerly flow at the mid levels, right? Troughing and high pressure here, high pressure here. Now, this reflects at the surface in different ways because the 500 millibar high isn't co-located with the surface high, but this is what you would say is a Rex block, right? A omega block would be more like this, or more like this, with low pressure here, here, high pressure here. So we have just the opposite going on, right? I know it's a poor drawing, but that's the best I can do. I'm not an artist, guys. So, right. So we get towards the extent of the GFS wants to move this high pressure offshore eventually, but high pressure stays in place out west here with a more northwesterly flow type setup here. But you see, in the east, we may be returning to more of a, at least maybe a zonal flow, actually, right? So, or maybe northeasterly flow. The heights lower here, but that doesn't always get this far out here. This may be just uncertainty in the model. So, anyway, what is the European show? Here we go, starting off right now, right? Low sinks through the northeast. We have some colder air, and this don't have more than this run, so I have to go back to the 12Z. All right, so this feature swings through. Let me talk about the GFS. Southerly flow builds here, right? And it looks like the European wants to develop a cutoff low here almost, right? But you see the general idea here. And the European really wants to dig this trough. Looks more intense than the GFS at this point, right? With the deeper blues up here, okay? And eventually it shifts to the east some. Kind of plays out the same way the GFS does, right? So what's this look like for temperatures at the surface? And so this is going to be, let's look at that real quick. We're going to zoom in a little bit here for the continental US. So this is the European ensemble members. So you can see where the coldest temps are into the 28th, March 1st. This is a short month. So Sunday is the 1st. Tomorrow's the last day of the month. So warming up here in the deep south. You see the cold temps right up here into Monday morning, right? Just right up here in the northeast. Really starts to warm up here. Although cold temps stay up here in the north for a little while. You see what ends up happening here, right? For the long term. 60s, 70s, get pushed pretty far to the north. And maybe you get some troughing building here east of the Rockies where we get cooler temps, but not nearly as warm as it has been in the central U.S. here, the Central Plains, right? The exception of maybe just to the east here. So it depends on where these boundaries set up. Anywhere east of the boundary, with systems moving generally in this direction, we're going to have warm temps here, right? So obviously, maybe get a little bit cooler push of air towards the end, but this is pretty far out. Now, when we talk about severe weather, we talk about dew point, right? Dew point at the surface, which is a good measure of moisture, right? And all right, so any dew point in the 60s, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and the blues here is you know, gives us a good idea that there could be severe weather there if all the parameters are equal. You see the 60-degree dew points, or to start with this, or right along the Gulf Coast, 50s further to the north. You see how these push further to the north here in the parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, um, Arkansas, and Texas, and then push a little bit further to the east here. And this is also a precursor, I would say, towards the rainfall, right? So we look at the most rainfall here. You see where I'm talking about with the European, where it's showing the most rainfall through the period, right? 5, 6 inches in parts of Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. So now, if you look at precipitable water, that's a good indication of moisture in the atmosphere too. See right on the Gulf Coast, you have, but going back here, you can see this tongue of really high P watts, 1.5, 1.5 inches of precipitable water in the atmosphere. All right, so that's a good indication that you really have a lot of moisture throughout the column, right? And it moves pretty far to the north here. Maybe it's sheared off to the east a little bit, but you see this constant flow. Maybe towards the end of this, it gets pushed further to the south. But um, you see parts of Colorado and points westward, very dry, and maybe just right along the west coast here, some moisture, right? Now, one indicator of severe weather is CAPE, right? And these are most unstable CAPE values. So let's just go into next week here. CAPE is energy in the atmosphere, and you have your most unstable parcel, right? Which isn't necessarily an indicator of throughout the column. It could be aloft, right? But we're talking maybe this model is averaging over 1,000, 1,500 joules per kilogram, which is a lot. Okay, this time of year, it really wants to push these values further to the north here. All right, so anywhere these values get, even this time of year, um, 500 to 1,000 is sufficient. You get above that, that's a very good indicator we could have severe weather if all the parameters are in place, right? So, well, I realize that this European doesn't show anything other than most unstable CAPE. So this is surface-based CAPE from the GFS model. Okay, starting off March 1st, right? Surface-based CAPE on the increase here, right? You're having 500,000 joules per kilogram as these systems move through. And you see the oranges and reds here building just east of Oklahoma City and points eastward, which indicates a lot of energy at the surface, right? Mixed layer CAPE is a good indicator of CAPE throughout the column. There's a lot of energy here as well. Now we can look at supercell composite all we want here, but you can see this far out. It's hard to really tell, but there seems to be some indicators we could have some severe weather here with the supercell composite index. To look at helicity as well, with that system moving through, that's pretty incredible amounts here. So we'll have to see how this plays out, and and what the Storm Prediction Center says in the coming days with this when we get closer to these time frames. Anyway, the main takeaway from all this is it's going to warm up a lot east of the Rockies and pretty far north here with with increased moisture in the deep south and potential for heavy rain in the extended period in the deep south as well. So that's going to be our main threat, I think, for the long term is heavy rainfall here and severe weather. So those are the top two things. In my thinking right now, what's going to be the most important things is going to happen next week. So stay tuned and we'll keep you updated. I hope you all have a good day and God bless.